Welcome to another edition of Len's Burning Bush. I am Len Harvey. Before I bring on my guest for the week, I want to talk about what's really burning my bush. So let me start this by saying if you've been listening to this for any length of time, first of all, I'm sorry, but you know I have an extreme distaste for rushing things, especially seasons, like from summer to fall, etc. So this next rant is going to be a little contradicting. So before Halloween, there were many people sounding off that they didn't want to see Christmas stuff up early, right? Christmas decorations. Let's face it, some of the stores out there, their stuff in September, they put it up because, let's face it, they want to make money, and this is their season to do it, right? The season of making money. There are many that say they won't want to see anything until after the Thanksgiving Day parade, right? When Santa goes out and they get the Christmas lights, and that's when they want to see the Christmas stuff putting up. But to be honest with you on this, for some reason, I don't really care when people put up their Christmas tree. I don't get angry if somebody puts up their Christmas tree on November 1st or even October 28th. I really don't care. To me, this is a personal decision on how long they want to see the tree up and how festive they actually want to be. Now, before I come up with what I think could be a solution of sorts to all of this, I want to get into the details of the actual Christmas tree and when it began, right? So in Germany, they are technically credited with starting the Christmas tree tradition in the 16th century. So way back in the 16th century, when devout Christians brought decorated trees into their homes. Some actually built Christmas pyramids of wood and decorated them with evergreens and candles if the wood was even scarce. Now, the custom was developed in medieval Livonia, present-day Estonia, and Latvia, and early modern Germany, where German Protestant Christians brought decorated trees into their homes. Now, Christmas trees are variously erected on days such as the first day of Advent, or even as late as Christmas Eve, depending on the country. And some customs of some faith hold that the two traditional days when Christmas decorations are put up, such as the trees, they have to be removed are the 12th night. Now, according to the first tradition, those who fail to remember to remove their Christmas decorations on the Epiphany Eve must leave them untouched until Candlemas, the second opportunity to remove them. Now, failure to do so this custom is considered unlucky, so you want to get them removed there. But so now that we know the history of the trees, I'm going to make a suggestion for everyone. If you're going to go put up a tree, then how about we just keep it up all year round? Okay? You can decorate them for each holiday after. Now, I have a good friend, Mandy, who actually does this, and I really like this idea because in February, you can do Valentine's Day tree. In March, St. Patrick's Day. In April, you could do the Easter Passover tree, or the Eastover, as I like to say. In May, it could be Memorial Day. You see where I'm going with this? June, Flag Day, 4th of July, all of these things, you can have the tree up. There is nothing wrong with having a tree in your house. And like the Dixie Chicks once said, you can also be one of those that leave their Christmas lights on the front porch all year long. And no judging. I don't care. You can do that. Let them enjoy the lights and the trees and stop giving them a hard time. Now, of course, if they start to rush my summer, I'm going to have to tell them to pipe down. With that being said, it's time to bring on my guest for the week. He is the host of his own syndicated morning show, This Morning America's First News with Gordon Deal, also the stadium announcer for the New York Giants. Let's welcome for the second time, Gordon Deal. Now, Gordy, where do you stand on the actual Christmas tree and the stuff? Do you care when people put it up?
Don't care when people put it up. But the fun part for me at this phase in my life is watching my daughter, who's now 17, take charge of all decorations, including take out, put up, take down, put back. This is her thing. She is a tchotchke kid. In fact, we were at Hobby Lobby last night and just picking stuff off the shelves because she knew there was a 50% off sale. So we're yanking stuff off the shelves, and she has a vision for everything. But her rule is you do not put it up until Thanksgiving weekend.
I like her. She's forceful about it. I love it.
She is. And I said, listen, this would look great if we put it up right now. And she looked at me like, no, no, oh, no, no. This goes up Thanksgiving weekend, and specifically Black Friday or Saturday.
Now, that was
So that's her thing. So with the tree all year long, I'm at the point in my life where I'm not interested in like doing all that decorating. She probably would be. And those trees tend to take up a lot of space, which can be an issue in some people's homes. So for me, I'm just zeroing in on the Christmas tree and the Christmas decorations, which must be, according to my daughter, done no earlier than Thanksgiving weekend.
Well, that was the side of the fence that I was on, which is her side, that it has to be after Thanksgiving. And then I start to think about it. Who am I to tell somebody, right, that if they want to put it up November 1st, what do I care? Why do people care so much that they are going to be so upset if they see something Christmassy? Now, granted, I have made a comment about this in August. I don't want to see pumpkin beer in August. So is this a similar thing, right? I shouldn't care that people, I shouldn't really care that people put up their Christmas tree early, and I shouldn't care that they get pumpkin beer. Everything is a thing, but it irritates me about the pumpkin. I got to be honest with you.
I can actually hear it in your voice.
Yes.
I can hear the frustration in your voice. So two different things, right? We are examining somebody's private way of celebrating in their home or on their lawn versus a commercial store, which may have brought out the Christmas decorations in late September, early October, which can tend to irk a lot more people because, they're in the public eye.
Right. And Macy's has a habit. I think it's September 15th. You'll start to see the tree and everything up. But and part of me doesn't blame them because let's face it, there's a study that retail stores only make money from, the time of Christmas season. They make enough to last for 6 months, 8 months of the year. So I get why they try to do it, right? Because the
other study that's part of that is that if people shop early when they see the decorations out early, they actually will spend a little more by the time the season is over. So there's that.
A little bit of a trick. I like it. See that?
Yes.
These are the things we talk about. So I just think that at this point, if you see people putting up their tree, obviously Thanksgiving's coming up, so it's a moot point anyway because it'll be up from now until it's the taking down of the tree. I guess I have friends that, they'll put it up and December 25th at 8:00, they want to take it down. I'm like, I think you need to, at least New Year's, right? Maybe,
take a breath.
Yeah, take a breath. I just don't want, I agree with you that if we do the tree all year long, I don't want to be the one decorating it. That's not my bag, baby, as they say, right? I'm not sitting there decorating the tree, and I don't want to do it. But I think there are a lot of lazy people that if they put up the Christmas lights, why can't they just get different color bulbs and this way keep them up? I don't know. It makes it for I like the Christmas lights. I think it's always been a thing for me that no matter what religious denomination, it's Christmas, it's lights, it's beautiful.
Festive.
It's festive.
Yes, festive. Yeah.
So I enjoy it. I always have. I'm one of the, the few tribesmen who enjoy like a good Christmas lights and, the tree. It never bothered me. I always used to call it my Hanukkah bush or Hanukkah bush, you put it up. It's kind of the combination of Hanukkah and Christmas. Now the OC did Chrismica, but I liked Hanukkah better. I always thought that Hanukkah greeting cards, would be a good thing, but I never hit the boat on that one. Never. Yeah. So anyway, Thanksgiving's coming up, and one of the things that I don't know if you saw this, but Reese's peanut butter cup, very much a favorite of a lot of people. I don't know. Do you like the peanut butter and the chocolate together?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Well, Reese's released the largest peanut butter cup ever.
Yeah, we did the story on the show.
Yeah, it's amazing. 9-inch diameter, weighing 3.4 pounds. I would be in love with this thing, but I can't get it now. They only had 3,000 of them, and they're all sold out. I can't even get them. It's $44.99 plus tax. Let's put more out there, Hershey. Come on. I would like to have. I will pay the $44.99. Just get me my Reese's big peanut butter cup.
Would you pay $54.99?
Part of me is saying yes.
Okay, so next year they'll roll out 6,000 of these things, charge $10 extra, and like off they go.
Well, there you're 100% accurate. I think we put too much value in our time and everything. If we like something, we will pay a little extra for it. It's we're getting lazy. Have you?
And
Yeah.
the great thing about a Reese's peanut butter pie is that it pairs with so many things. You want to have it with your coffee in the morning? Terrific. You want to have it with some milk? Great.
Oh, God.
You want a little red wine to complement the chocolate?
Oh.
Perfect. That's the thing about, chocolate and Reese's. It just goes with so many things.
It is. It's interesting. I don't know if you remember those commercials in the 70s and 80s with the you hit my chocolate, or you got my peanut butter,
Yeah.
and who would have thought? Like it's kind of interesting how things get made. But if you putting, I love anything with peanut butter and chocolate. There's nothing bad that could come from that for me, because I love peanut butter. I could eat it all the time. I feel for the people. I always said if I ever was allergic to peanut butter, I would just have to keep taking the shot, because I could not stop eating peanut butter.
Speaking of shots, have you had the peanut butter whiskey?
No, I have not. That sounds very good.
It's a brand that somebody introduced me to called Screwball with a K.
Oh, okay. I've heard of Screwball. Okay.
Oh my goodness!
All right.
So if you get the Screwball peanut butter whiskey and like a small splash of your favorite chocolate liqueur, and now you've got your Reese's peanut butter cup flavor in a shot glass.
Oh,
it's spectacular.
now that does sound spectacular. I might have to go out later and see if I could find this. Now, is it available in all stores, or is it something? Okay. Well,
I found it at my local shop. I've seen it at the giant, the booze retailer. Oh yeah, it's good stuff.
and this is the things we think about as we get older. We want to find a drink that works for us, right? Is it pretty much
Right.
what it comes down
And,
to?
well, and I say it because I've been experimenting with like brown liquor. I want to like brown liquor. I'm mostly I've traditionally been a red wine guy, occasional beer, and for like 2 months, I have been drinking tequila like it's going out of style.
Oh no.
But I've started. I every now and then I try to get into sipping little bourbon just to try to get into it. But it's a heavy lift for me for some reason. That I don't love it, but I keep trying it, thinking I'm eventually going to like it. I got to find the right amount of ice in the glass. That's what helps me drink it. But I keep trying.
Well, I give you a lot of credit, and if you come to Kentucky, we'll have plenty of bourbon for you,
Oh, my
obviously.
goodness. Yeah.
So the bourbon is tremendous. But I will tell you this, as someone who is of Eastern European descent, basically, vodka just is my bag. Like I love vodka, and I could drink it with a little like Tito's and soda. I could
Sure.
do the lime. I could do vodka and cranberry vodka. Anything with vodka. I love Bloody Marys. I do love it. But I will tell you that it takes a little bit getting used to with the bourbon, because it is a little bit harsher on when it goes down, right?
Yeah.
But it's good. It's good. But I agree with you. It takes a little bit of getting used to. So we'll got to get you for the next time you're on. I want to have your homework assignment that you need to have a little bit more bourbon. The tequila stuff will kill you. I mean that they have songs that says tequila make my clothes fall off for a reason.
Joe Nichols, right?
Yeah. Nothing good happens after midnight, and nothing good happens after 5 shots of tequila.
Speaking of which, since we referenced country music, I know you referenced the Dixie Chicks early on. I don't know. Gretchen Wilson also sings that. Christmas lights on my front porch all year long. I don't know if that's.
You know what? I probably screwed up. Yeah, that wasn't the
lyrics
Dixie.
or,
No.
whatever.
I actually made a mistake. You caught me. It is Gretchen Wilson who sings the song. Redneck Woman was what I was thinking
Very
about.
good, very good, yes.
So I screwed up. It is not the Dixie Chicks. So fact checking. Susan wants to be my fact checker because when she listens, she says that there are times when I'll say something and then I can't think of it right away because what happens when you get old, right? You're doing a live program. You're not. So you forget stuff, and she wants to be my fact checker. So thank you. It is it is Gretchen Wilson.
Well, first of all, when you are married, that means you now have a fact checker partner. That's really what it comes down to.
I agree with you. I think
You're right. No, I'm right. No, I'm right. You're fact checking. Your arguments are all about fact checking.
Absolutely. And after how many years?
You said that. No, I didn't. You told me. No, you didn't.
So with Thanksgiving coming up, are you the ones your family? Do you do kind of a 12 noon, 2:30? What time do you have dinner on Thanksgiving? Because Kelly Ripa is coming down, and why we have to listen to Kelly Ripa about this, I don't know. But she's coming out and she's saying that some households begin between 2 and 4. She thinks it should be more towards dinner time, like 7 o'clock or 8. I think that's too late. I like a 2:30. I don't know about you because that's a lot of food.
Well, I think you hit it right on the head because you're expected to overeat, or maybe not expected, but because you tend to overeat. I like it at 2:30. It at least gives you a fighting chance in the evening to maybe burn off some of those calories, so you're not going to bed with, a 25-pound lead weight in your stomach. I tend to graze, so I overdo it early on. So as soon as like the shrimp cocktail comes out with the cheese and the pepperoni,
Oh,
and the celery with dip or the carrots with dip, but I'm done.
I know. Well, you have
I'm
to.
done.
You can't see. That's the thing. There is more food. I've been saying this for years. There is more food on a Thanksgiving table in one day than probably we have on our tables maybe the whole year. I mean, it's just amazing how much food we think we can consume. It's like how many people are coming to this event? You could have 100 people and still have plenty for everyone with all this. And I don't know if there's enough stretchy pants in the world. So I think what people need to do is don't forget to turn your bathroom scales back 15 pounds on Wednesday night because, because it's ridiculous on how much food we actually consume. Now, explain to me why we all love turkey and stuffing and all these things that are on that. What's your favorite side dish, by the way, before we get started? What do you like?
Let me just say, we generated on Twitter somewhat of a controversy because I maintained on the radio show for a handful of days that turkey is the most useless meat imaginable on Thanksgiving. There's no, and listen, and then my friends chime in, well, you got to fry it, you got to inject it so it's juicy, and I'm like, fine, but like, what, steak doesn't need that much work. I am on a mission, like, I'm on #no turkey. That's my thing. There's just no need for turkey. You give me like that really seasoned stuffing. Give me the mashed potatoes with the gravy. I unlike many people, I love green bean casserole or creamed onions. I'm good. The turkey is just taking up space. Like it's dry. It's never prepared correctly. Can we stop pretending that turkey is a good meat to have on Thanksgiving? There's no need. Give me a little skirt steak. It's fine. Filet mignon, good. You want to get burgers without the bun? Fine. I'm over the turkey. It's just people stop pretending that we like turkey. It's not good.
This would have been you should have started the rant today. That is the best. I agree with you 100%.
Do it next week.
Well,
do it on your own.
I was going to actually say, why is it that we only have turkey if it was this good, why do we only have it one day a year? Maybe you have it on Christmas too. I guess there is people that do the turkey, but mostly ham though. Ham is great. Ham is another tremendous meal. So I think that you're right. I think that turkey, so you do have to, so the key is on a turkey. So it could be that somebody's not preparing it well. And I will side a little bit on your friend and say, look, if you put, all you have to do in the carcass of the turkey before you cook it and baste it is you actually put, whether it's an apple or some kind of a fruit inside the carcass while it's cooking. It doesn't have to be peeled or anything. Just throw it in there, and that will exude the juices of the turkey so that it isn't dry. And why do you think, of course, you need gravy on it too, right? It's like steak. You don't need any A1 sauce. You could do it without, right? I agree with you. I think steak. But if you do cook a decent turkey, turkey's good for like sandwiches. I'm big like turkey sandwich, turkey and Swiss, or next day. The sandwiches, people like turkey soup or whatever. But, I'm with you because it does take a lot of room up on your plate. And there's so many other good things to eat on Thanksgiving that it's kind of like secondary, mostly. So,
and again, so you're talking about sandwiches or leftover turkey, but it's always in the context of a sandwich.
Yeah.
And you got to put something on the sandwich, right? It's just not turkey between two slices of bread, right? Or turkey in the soup. You're likely adding carrots and celery and onions. And again, turkey just needs a lot of help. Turkey's so dependent as a meat. It's terrible.
Very.
I almost feel bad for turkey.
Turkey is a needy meat. There you go.
Yeah.
Hashtag needy meat. There you go. Turkey, the needy meat.
Turkey dependency.
Oh, I love it. Turkey dependency. But most people will enjoy it. I'm trying to figure out. It's kind of like the pumpkin sensation. Why is it, if it's so good, why do we have it all year round? Right? Yeah. It's the same with turkey. Like, we need to have another turkey day, but it's almost too much food. You're like, you can only do it once a year. I think that's more than what it is. So we'll switch over to baseball, because obviously big news this week. The Mets actually finally, they could have waited till March or April, but they finally decided to name a general manager, and Billy Epler got the job. Billy Epler, rather, 11 years, and he worked under Brian Cashman. So he made a comment, I think, this week in the Post. He talked about how he doesn't think he's going to give anything, any trades to Brian Cashman anytime soon either. What are your thoughts of that?
The Mets have disappointed me for so long and have underachieved for so long that I only now pay attention to the Mets. I would say the second and third week of April, and that's pretty much it. Then I have just moved on to other things in my life. So I don't pay any attention to spring training. Sometimes an injury obviously gets my attention. When the games start late March, early April, I tend to think that, either the pitchers or the batters have the advantage at that time of year. And by the second or third week of April, we've got a pretty good feel of what's happening. And by the third week of April, I'm generally done with baseball season. So I was kind of hoping that under Steve Cohen, right, the new owner, things would be somewhat different. I'm still somewhat optimistic, but I just will not pay attention to anything the Mets do or say until the product on the field captures my attention. And right now, it is not.
It seems like there are organizations out there that are just destined to do stupid things. The Jets are definitely one of them. I mean, the Jets are an abomination. I mean,
yep.
I don't understand how you could consistently be that bad at drafting or that bad at picking a coach. Saleh was a decent coach in San Francisco, a defensive-minded coach. He comes to the Jets, and they're giving up 40 points a game. I mean, yeah. I don't understand that. Like, they seem to go to – it used to be the Raiders were always that way also with Al Davis, but later on in the years – the Lions are another. I mean, Dan Campbell sitting there with the Steeler-Lions game last week. I watched it. It was like 3.5 hours of my life I will never get back. Ends in a 16-16 tie. Mm-hmm. And you're sitting there with Dan Campbell with a quarterback that has Jared Goff, who has a hurt back, can't throw the ball, and he decides on 3rd and 13 to run the ball. I mean, he should have been fired immediately after that game. But I just think that there's some organizations that never seem to get it right. And the Mets have been in that category recently. It just doesn't, I don't know why you wait. There's people already signing with teams and you wait until, November to get your GM. It just seems a little bit off.
All right. So for the Mets, I mean, there was a time, it was 3 years ago where you thought if that pitching rotation was healthy, that they might not ever lose a game, right?
Right.
You had DeGrom, Syndergaard. You would know more than I. But
Harvey, he was part of that original. Yeah.
So what happened? I don't
Syndergaard is now with the Angels, right? Didn't he go to?
Yeah.
Didn't he go with the Angels? I don't know. I look at it as, and the Yankees are kind of in the same boat. They keep, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, and watching the Tampa Bay Rays and all these other teams, the Red Sox, just pass you by. Doing it a different way, and it seems like whatever money the Yankees and the Mets spend is never good.
Well, I'm more into at this point, since I coach high school soccer, right? I'm very much into the psychology of the game and not so much the tactics or the technical stuff. So when I look at a team like the Jets and understand that the NFL is a quarterback league, the Jets have now been without a quarterback for an entire generation, right? Not since Joe Namath have they had somebody with kind of that winning attitude. So the Jets are not going to win until they get a quarterback. And you look at all these teams that have suddenly popped up and have become competitive. They've gotten a quarterback. The Cleveland Browns were in that boat also. Didn't have a quarterback for a generation, right? Now they've got Baker Mayfield. And, some of these teams never skipped a beat. Like the Green Bay Packers essentially went from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers.
Right. But they got a problem going to Love, though.
I mean, at one point, the Indianapolis Colts went from Peyton Manning to Andrew Luck for that brief stretch, right? So some fans of those teams don't know what it's like not to have a quarterback. But the Jets are a team that have not had a quarterback now in 50 years. Like it's unbelievable that they haven't been able to do that, and therefore it's very understandable why they're not ever competitive.
No, agreed. And you could look back to the Jets, and certainly you're right. Namath, and they really, they had Richard Todd, and they were decent with the defense, and the A.J. Dewey game in '82. Certainly there's, that, and then you moved on, and they had a chance to draft a really good quarterback, and they went for a sub guy, Ken O'Brien. And it's kind of been the since Ken O'Brien, it has kind of been that mediocrity.
Yeah.
Since then, and they could have drafted Marino, and the Steelers could. I mean, so many teams could have drafted Marino, but you look at the Jets, and you're right. I mean, they just don't seem to get it right. They can't get out of their own way, and I don't understand. I mean, Parcells came there for a couple of years and did okay, and they went to the AFC Championship game, right, or at least 1 year.
Yep.
But that was Vinny Testaverde.
Yep.
Who was on the end of his career, but did a nice job while he was there before he got hurt. But it's even, they don't seem. I'm trying to figure this out. They go up and draft, a guy who, seemed like he needed a lot of work, right? The Jets, Jet fans do not have time to wait for more work. They need somebody. It's kind of like what the 49ers did. They went for Trey Lance, who seems like a project quarterback, right? If they would have went with Mac Jones, they'd have a guy who could probably win with that organization and move on. Now, nothing against Garoppolo, but if they're going to draft a quarterback, to me, if you want to take the window of opportunity now, you go with Mac Jones in that draft pick. You don't go with Trey Lance. Trey Lance seems like a huge project. Maybe he's going to be great, but the upside is too long down the road, and the Jets don't have that kind of time. I mean, at this point, you gotta find somebody, a veteran maybe, that could just lead the way.
So speaking of the psychology of the game, the Jet fan now has expectations that are so low that I don't even know. Like it's so hard to win back the Jet fan, I guess, in my mind. And look, I work for the Giants, right? So I work on the other side of the building for roughly 10 days out of the year. The Giants have expectations, whether you like the Giants or not, or whether you think they're good or not. The Giants have expectations. This is the team in the modern era that has won Super Bowls and believes that at the start of every season, if things go their way, they are going to the Super Bowl. I like being part of that organization, whether or not you believe what they're selling or not. The Jets are not that way. You don't look at the Jets at the start of preseason and say, you know what? If things go the right way, the Jets are going to the Super Bowl. But with the Giants, there's that air of positivity and believability where there's some credibility, and you could say if things go the right way, the Giants could go to the Super Bowl. So same thing in baseball. The Mets standards are so low, and the Yankees standards, regardless of whether you like them or you like their talent or not, you as a Yankees fan believe every season that there is a path for you to the World Series. It's not the same with the Mets. So that is like the psychology of the game and of the sport that I like to get into. There's expectations for some teams and not for others.
Well, I agree 100% with you. It's kind of like the Lions. You're happy to just win 8 games, or the Bengals for many years in Cincinnati. They're just happy that they make the playoffs. And it's like you got to expect, like, the difference between the Steelers and the Bengals is basically the Steelers think they can win the Super Bowl every year, and the Bengals are just happy enough to, make the playoffs and be satisfied with that. That's kind of like the mantra you just mentioned about the Jets and the Giants. The Jets, they'll be happy with 9 and 8 now. But 9 and 7 was like, oh my God, we had a successful season. To me, it's you gotta win, or at least get to the Super Bowl every year. Is like, winning one playoff game is not enough either, right? You gotta You got to strive to win. And I don't understand these organizations that are just happy for mediocrity, right?
Yeah.
And that's what it comes down to. But you're right. Fans of the Lions, fans of the Jets, fans of the Bengals, they're just so excited. I mean, every September and October, the Bengals are 3-0, and they're ready to have the parade down in Fountain Square. And then soon as November and December come, when they got to start running the ball, you can't do it because it's cold and they can't seem to play, right? It's every year it's the same thing. Whereas other teams get better, like New England is just, I don't know how they're doing it, but you expect now with Belichick that whoever he has at quarterback that they still have a shot.
Yeah. Again, all about the psychology. And show me a team that's mapping out a path to the Super Bowl, and I'll show you a team that's excited or believing in its quarterback. Because the NFL is a quarterback league. You mentioned the Patriots, Mac Jones on board. Buffalo Bills, laughing stock for years. Not anymore.
Nope.
Josh Allen's on board, right? The Giants are a believer in Daniel Jones, whether you think he needs more time or whatever. They're a believer in Daniel Jones. Joe Burrow in Cincinnati, right? They're starting to believe to a certain extent that, like, man, maybe we can win. We got a guy with a winning attitude. So, show me an organization that's got quarterback on the rise. I'll show you a team that's really starting to feel good about their Super Bowl chances and has rising expectations.
Agreed. You got to get it right with the quarterback. The Steelers have been spoiled Ben Roethlisberger for many years, right?
Yeah.
But they have not come up with a replacement program because Mason Rudolph is just a disaster. He can't
why
play.
Ben Roethlisberger is still out there with I don't know what is something broken. Is he a broken leg? Like whatever the guy plays on, like week to week, like his shoulder's out of joint or his leg is broken, his back is out of place. The guy just trots out there every week and just freaking wins.
He still could throw a touchdown, but I don't know how he's doing it as well. He can't move. He can't do anything anymore.
Right.
He's a shell of what he was. But even that is still better than Mason Rudolph. Isn't that terrible? It's like
but those guys, and I'll throw Tom Brady in that group as well. Figure out and readily admit, like, you know what, my mobility is not what it was. Not that those guys were ever overly mobile, but they just figured out. They're just tactically smarter, right? I can't hold the ball for that extra split second, or I'm going to get drilled because I'm not quick enough to step in or out of the pocket anymore. So they just tactically get savvier and savvier as the years go on.
It's true. It's true. And you're right about the psychology, though. It is just when you think you can win. I always look at it, even for people out there that are not sports people in the company. If you go ahead and you work for you're a great salesperson and you work for a lousy run organization, you're going to be a lousy salesperson. It's the same kind of deal. You could put Tom Brady on the Jets and something would happen. Look, I mean, the Jets tried it with Favre, and the Jets you put those guys in that situation, and for whatever reason, that organization just doesn't put the energy behind that particular player. So it is the organization as much as it is the player too, because you have to play for a team that wants to be there. I mean, you can't just say you put Joe Montana on the Detroit Lions and all of a sudden the Lions are good. It's not definite, right? It's just, I mean, that's just the way it's been, right? I mean, think about Matthew Stafford over the years. I mean, not a bad quarterback. He was a he could throw the ball. He had great wide receivers. But again, wide receivers do not win championships in this league. Defense and protecting the quarterback and all that win in this league. So, when you have your star, and the Bengals seem to do this a lot too, where they make the stars of their wide receivers and draft them very high, when Belichick's like, I'll just throw anybody out there, That's the kind of, so it's the mentality of we have to have that great wide receiver. I don't know if that's the most important thing in a football team.
You can relate to it, but how about the Mets and Bobby Bonilla?
Oh,
man, we got a superstar player, but often like the Mets are just the place where star players go to die.
Exactly. Didn't they have Willie Mays at the end of his career? Didn't they? I mean, it just seemed like everybody comes to the Mets. Yeah. Carlos Baerga, didn't he come to the Mets and was never any good? Who was the other when they made the trade? Von Hay, wasn't it Von Hay? No. I'm trying to think of the trade that they made to get. It was Lenny Dykstra went to Philadelphia. And wasn't Von Hay? I'm trying to think. There was one guy that came back and came to the Mets, and he couldn't do anything.
Juan Samuel?
They moved Juan Samuel right to center field. Yes.
I can't remember.
Yeah, and that was not a good move. Yeah, but there was a couple of players that came in that. But yeah, you're right. It just whatever the players go to die, no matter who it is. Like I always say, put Tom Brady on another team, and maybe it's all about how you rally around that quarterback too.
Yeah.
On it, but. You have this great show in the morning. You have your podcast. Why don't you give the people so they can find a way to listen to you? Because you've got it going on with this whole turkey thing. I think people need to hear more about you.
Well, it's funny how certain things register, right? So we do, it's a breaking news program, news analysis, what's happening in Washington, and we're non-biased. So sometimes the exhaustion, I think, of Washington politics wears people out. So I throw out something like #NoTurkey on Thanksgiving, and suddenly it's just a sweet spot on Twitter, and people rally around it and say, yeah, well, think differently about this, or no, I agree 100%. It's just those fun things sometimes. I can give you a break from the nitty-gritty politics out of Washington. So it's a breaking news show, lots of news analysis, a lot of trendy things, car buying, supply chain stuff, anything like super trendy is what we say is on that program, and anything you probably need to make you the smartest person when you enter the office, if you still go to an office in the morning.
This is true. And you're listening to you, I feel smarter already. So that's kind of what happens when you listen to Gordon Deal in the morning. I'll put the link in the description of the episode so they could go to your website. But why don't you make an announcement of what the website is?
Yeah, the website is it's the name of the show plus my name. So it's thismorningwithgordondeal.com. And if you generally just Google my name, Gordon Deal, the website will come up, and there's always a link to a podcast on there, or how to find the live radio program in the morning. Generally live 5 to 7 Eastern time. There are a lot of stations that carry the program for 3 hours, maybe 4 hours. It's on about 300 radio stations and change around the country. It is the #1 syndicated morning news program in America. And what's funny is that, so we're on a lot of conservative talk stations, right? So I'm on with Hannity or Mark Levin or previously Rush Limbaugh. So immediately people think that my program must be a conservative news delivery, but it's not. And I think that's generally, I think, what people appreciate about it. Like, I'll get my news from Gordon Deal, and then throughout the course of the day, I'll start to absorb the more opinion-related stuff. So, I give you the equal balance. So if I'm going to give you Mitch McConnell, the Senate Republican leader, in a soundbite, I'm going to follow up with Chuck Schumer, the Senate Democratic leader, in the same story. So a lot of people struggle with that and think, you crazy liberal, blah, blah, blah. But really, they don't understand, from having listened to a conservative talk radio station all day, that when I come on, I'm really just trying to throw out there, like, here's what happened yesterday. You can kind of decide for yourself who's saying what that might be slanted, but I'm just telling you, this is what happened, and here's who said what. The rest is up to you.
Sounds very refreshing to finally get what they call the song "The Middle of the Road," right? Yeah. Middle of the road. I kind of like that. Well, you can like Lens Burning Bush on Facebook at Lens Burning Bush. You can follow at Lens Burning Bush on Twitter. YouTube channel is Lenny1015 under Len Harvey. You can listen on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, Podbean, iHeartRadio, TuneIn. You can even ask Alexa Gordy to play Lens Burning Bush podcast. Make sure you add the podcast at the end of it, because you never know what comes up otherwise. But Pandora has us. We're all over the place. Some countries, actually. It is fun to do it. Thank you for coming on again the second time. We could go on for hours, but I appreciate the hashtag #NoTurkey, and I will make sure we follow that up on ours with no turkey. Although, I do like a little bit of turkey, but not enough to where I'm going to have it on multiple days. So just the one day, but
right.
But Gordy, thank you. Hope the family as well, because it's fun doing this, and it is good to see you again.
Always good talking to you, Lenny. I appreciate it.
Well, thanks to Gordon Deal. I'm Len Harvey. We'll be back with another episode of Lens Burning Bush next week. So long. Happy Thanksgiving to all, and to all a good night.